Good morning to you, Professor Van der Meer. It's such a pleasure to have you here on ENCA. So tell me about your study. I always remember at school I was forced to write my alphabet and my maths and my maths numbers because I could remember it better. I'd become lazy because of a keyboard.
Yes, exactly. We wanted to investigate the differences in electrical brain activity when students and children wrote by hand, or when they drew, or when they were using a keyboard. So we recorded their brain activity by electroencephalography, which is EEG in short. So they were wearing a hood with over 250 sensitive electrodes measuring their brain activity. And we played the game Pictionary with them. So we presented them with words, very concrete words like shoe or umbrella or hedgehog, but also more difficult, more abstract words like birthday or family or friends. And they either had to type those words with their index finger on a keyboard, or they had to just write the words cursively using a digital pen, or they had to draw those words. And basically what we found was that the brain is much more active when you draw or write words by hand, as opposed to when you type the words using a keyboard. So
Professor, I think it's fascinating. So I just want to pick up on that because I want to use one of the quotes in some of the articles you've been cited in, Professor, and I want to quote you here. The use of a pen and paper gives the brain more hooks to hang your memories on. And it's such a lovely way of describing it. And I would like to know, though, how do we now balance the technology we've got, whether it's a tablet or a keyboard, versus using a pen and paper? We're trying to push young people into technology, to get them to use technology, become technologically savvy. But yet, your research is showing writing is still the way to go. How do you see the balance in a modern world today?
Yes, I'm not saying that we should go back to the Stone Age, but we shouldn't skip that important phase in a child's development where it actually has to work really hard, and its brain has to work really hard to producing those letters on paper. It's a difficult task, and you have to start practicing early, and you shouldn't hop or skip that stage in a child's development, because it's very stimulating for your brain, and you actually challenge the child's brain so that it will reach its potential.
Let's talk a little bit about the national guidelines, Professor Van der Meer, that you're calling for, I imagine, over where you're living at the moment. Those national guidelines, what are you hoping from your government? I'm curious to know, because I would like to know how we could potentially put that forward to our government here in South Africa. What do these national guidelines for handwriting look like?
Well, I'm asking for a minimum amount of handwriting teaching, so that children are getting educated in writing by hand for a minimum amount of time. Because in Norway, it's very popular these days with completely digital schools. So pupils, when they start school at the age of 6, they are handed out a tablet or a computer with a keyboard, and they do all their schoolwork, also their homework, on the tablet or the computer, and they don't produce letters on paper at all anymore.
Professor, I'm going to say thank you. This is a wonderful study. Please go and Google it as well. I did just a quick search while I was preparing for the interview. Professor Audrey Van der Meer, you can go and find her on Google, and the kind of research she's done.